far as Caylee as a mother, what I saw, she seemed to be a doting, loving mother. And I may have sent this to you in my first email. Without Caylee, she has no self-worth, and she has no value, and she has no way to manipulate friends and family to bail her out.
Did Caylee ever tell you anything about her and her mother in regards to who was the better mother for Caylee? Like, did her mother ever threaten her, saying, you're worthless, you need to listen to me, anything along those sorts?
Not that early in the game. There obviously were issues. When we went over for the family barbecue to introduce the families, it was obvious who lead dog was. Lead dog is Cindy. And whatever she wanted to have happen, happened. And if she wanted Caylee to do something, that's what got done. I never heard that. The only thing that I heard from Jesse is when the fights began over Caylee. The fights began with, you love Caylee more than you love me, and the only reason you're marrying me is because of Caylee. So this jealousy I'm hearing now makes sense because she had it then.
Did she ever mention this to you, aside from Zenaida? Did she ever mention Juliette Lewis to you as a friend of hers, or this Jeff Hopkins with Zach?
Yes, that was the introduction to Zenaida, the whole Zenaida thing.
Have you ever met any of these people?
No, sir. No, sir.
Do you recall ever being present in the room with her while she's talking to one of these people, or say, hey, hi Zenaida, how are you? Anything like that?
No. At that time, no. No.
Any other time?
No.
Do you know if Jesse has ever been in the room, or Jesse ever told you he's met any of these people?
No. No. In fact, when she came in with the whole Zenaida thing, same story. He'd never met her before, never heard her before, never met Jeff. These were all names that Caylee gave us.
Did he ever tell you about any conversations he may have had with her? Well, actually, during the time that she went missing, where Caylee might have reached out to him and asked her for advice or an opinion, or said, hey, has he ever mentioned anything like that to you?
Well, I asked. I wanted to know, and I'll be honest with you, I wanted him to stay away from her. As much as I have compassion for Caylee, as much as I have as much mercy as I can muster, Caylee hurt the family. She used us. She took advantage of us. The word betrayal came up, and I found it interesting. That's what's in Cindy's blog. So when Caylee went missing, and Caylee would reach out to him, he would tell me. Like the time she came over to take the shower. His roommate's a friend of mine because I helped him get in there.
What's his roommate's name?
Rick Oswald. He's a member of my ministry. He's also my martial art teacher. He's fifth degree black belt. He had told me about meeting her. And I said, Jesse, don't you find it odd that Caylee shows up at 10:30 in the morning and needs to take a shower? So what do you think she was doing there? Well, I think she was trying to seduce me. Well, what did you do? He said, I got away from her and played Xbox. And I said, Son, I don't think that's what she was doing. He said, what do you think she was doing? I said, I think she was looking for something of yours, and if she needs a scapegoat, you're going to be it. She was in your shower. She was in your bathroom. She could have taken a pair of underwear. She could have taken some hair. I said, you have... At that point, he didn't think she was that diabolical. I did. There was no reason for her to be there at that time of morning, and that's why I was going to suggest if nobody's looked at the woods behind the Arden Villas, you might consider it. Now, it's long after Kaylee's missing, so I don't think so. Then again, at this point, I don't know. After reading your documents, I've come to a different perception of Casey Anthony.
In the time that she was, I guess, getting along with your family and coming over, as far as work is concerned, what did she say she did for a living?
She worked at Kodak, when it was Kodak. And the reason I know that is she helped my younger son Chris get a job there. And when my family would go to the park, a couple of times she'd backdoor them into, like, the Mummy.
When was the last time that you actually spoke, or that Casey actually came to your house to be with you or Jesse or the family? Do you remember when that was?
That would have been either late April or early May of 06. I'd have to look and when to see graduation was for Dr. Phillip High School in May of 06, because that would have been the last week we saw her. She came by to have Caylee babysat. She was supposed to meet us at the Civic Center and never showed up. And that was the last time we ever saw her.
Okay. Did she ever call you on her own or ask you, say, hey, how are you, or did she ever call you personally?
No, she would talk to me when she came to the house, because Jesse would be late on a call for Progressive, so she'd sit at the table and just chit chat.
What about your wife? Did your wife have any relationship with Casey? Anything above and beyond maybe what you guys had?
No, just about the same. About the same.
And I stepped out for a few minutes. I just have a couple questions. Did you ever hear that of any problems between Casey or Cindy the day before she turned up missing?
The only thing I heard of was from Jesse, from Lee. And at that point, we don't know if he's telling us the truth.
What did Lee tell Jesse?
What Lee had told Jesse was that fight the night before had escalated to the point that Cindy had wrapped her hands around Casey's throat and was trying to strangle her.
Okay, Lee told this to Jesse.
Right.
Okay. Did Jesse ever tell you about any other incidents where Cindy and Casey had?
That was the only one that I heard of.
Okay.
That was the only one that I heard of. And at that point, that's such bombshell stuff. I didn't know. We weren't sure if Lee was telling the truth or not. And also, and this may sound naive, we were kind of trying to stay on the inside.
Right. Did Jesse ever tell you anything about Lee and Casey's relationship?
The only thing I heard, and it was an odd relationship, it was kind of when I first met Lee in 06, not the same young man he is now. He was very quiet, very withdrawn, very off. He was a Star Wars geek.
Okay.
The other thing I heard was that they had some, I don't want to say a love-hate relationship, but what I'm hearing now is that he was her protector. That wasn't what I got.
Right. Now, early on, when Casey became pregnant, she said that Jesse was the father.
Right.
Was there ever any conversation after that as to who the father might be? Once the paternity test showed that Jesse was not the father.
The only conversation that ever came up, and she never had it with us. She never just dawned on me. She never even apologized for lying to us and implicating Jesse. The story is that he was a one-night stand who lived someplace else, and it wasn't until a year later that we heard, he had died. My problem with the story is when I first met Casey personally, it was early of 05. I want to say it would probably be June, because Chris had just gotten out of school and she helped him get a job at Kodak. She came to our house to give Chris some paperwork for the job. Jesse came inside and I asked him who that was. He said, "Remember that girl I dated last year? That's her." I said, "Jesse, she's pregnant." No, she's having some female problem. I said, "No, Jesse, I know when I see a pregnant woman, she's pregnant." So she was lying about that, but she has never told anybody who the father was, or
what's your understanding of how Cindy and George found out that Casey was pregnant? Did you ever hear how that happened? Or
what I heard offhand from Jesse afterward was that finally Casey was showing to the point that they took her to the doctor and got that confirmed, and that would have been like July of 05.
Jesse ever tell you anything else about Casey that you think is important to us? Be important to us.
Nothing that I haven't already seen in your notes about.
Jesse ever talked to you about any of the people he went to the academy with and their relationship with Casey, or did that ever?
Well, I knew about the whole Ruciano thing before that blew up.
How did you know about that?
What happened was, after Jesse and Casey broke up the second time, he finally accepted the fact that she wasn't the person he thought she was and wanted her to be. Because when Jesse and Caylee broke up in June 06, I had gone to a MySpace page and saved 2 pages full of comments between he and a young man named Adam. Adam is another...
Adam and who?
Caylee.
Adam and Caylee. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know Adam's last name. I've been trying to find it.